Yi Chun had everything, both looks and wealth. People saw him as a real-life Prince Charming, yet his past told a different story. After his parents divorced and his mother died in a tragic car accident, he closed his heart. He convinced himself that love was nothing more than a fairy tale. Each morning, Yi Chun woke to a world of designer clothes and endless opportunities. His life moved forward in constant success, leaving little room for anything else. In contrast, Wan started her mornings with chaos. She often ran to catch the bus, determined to pursue her dream of becoming an animator at a mobile game company. Many called her dream unrealistic, but she refused to let go. Despite setbacks, she carried hope with her. One morning, her struggles grew worse. Ron panicked when she could not find her and called. The call distracted Wan, causing her to fall off her bike. Her phone slipped into a drain. And in the same moment, a luxury car sped past, splashing muddy water across her face. The car belonged to Yi Chun. And so, their story begins. This is Warm Meet You. The day continued downhill. She arrived late to a job interview, missing her chance despite finally reaching the building. Exhausted, she sat outside, overwhelmed by disappointment. Then she spotted the same car that had drenched her earlier. Frustration took over, and she shouted at the car and even kicked its tire. As she turned to leave, her shoe flew off and landed at the feet of Yi Chun himself. Only then did she realize the car's owner was the CEO of the very company where she hoped to work. Yi Chun offered her another chance at an interview. Yet her luck faltered again. When she tried to present her portfolio, it was already ruined from the earlier mishap with his car. That night, Wan faced despair. She had no job, little money, and nowhere to turn. While searching for food, she met a man who had just been fired from the same company. They bonded over their frustration with Yi Chun. In an unexpected gesture, the man handed her a pair of glasses as a small gift before they parted ways. The next morning, Mingyang, Wan's brother, called and asked to be picked up. Wan wore the glasses given by the man she met, and suddenly everything around her looked brighter. She soon learned the man was a business rival once rejected by Yi Chun. The glasses came with instructions, saying they would reveal the wearer's destined partner, which strangely pointed her toward Yi Chun. Curious, she followed Yi Chun, but he caught her spying. In her panic, she ran the wrong way and ended up in the men's restroom, angering him further. At the same time, his business meeting with UA failed. They demanded full control over ZMG, and he refused. Frustrated, Wan stopped trying to be polite. Forgetting about Mingyang, she focused on revenge. She confronted Yi Chun in public, shouting at him and pressing a note to his face. Yi Chun froze, then exploded with anger. Despite his outburst, Wan left with Mingyang. He told her he would stay with her for 2 days while searching for a new apartment and job. Yi Chun, meanwhile, felt unsettled by what had happened. He returned home and immediately showered. His strange allergy resurfaced. Any touch from a woman caused severe reactions that threatened his breathing. The following day, Wan experienced sudden good fortune. Unsure if it was related to Yi Chun or the glasses, she shared the story with Ron. Ron misunderstood, believing Wan was being kidnapped, and tried to find a way to warn others. At work, Ron faced pressure from her boss for failing to secure a cleaner for Yi Chun's office. She dropped the contact information in the lobby, right as Wan appeared. In tears, Ron begged her for help. Reluctantly, Wan agreed. Her luck turned again. While cleaning, she accidentally placed a feather duster into the shredder, scattering feathers everywhere. Yi Chun returned unexpectedly, forcing Wan to hide under a desk. He noticed the mess, grimaced, and reluctantly picked it up while wearing gloves. From her hiding place, she saw a strange glow around him and tried to reach for it. Mingyang, working nearby as a sound technician for the game project, noticed her but kept her secret. Once alone, Wan tried again to touch Yi Chun's aura. She crawled after him as he left the room. Meanwhile, Ron realized women were not allowed in Yi Chun's office and panicked, rushing to find her. Wan tripped and fell directly into Yi Chun, her lips brushing his chest. Outside, Ron stumbled into Mingyang's arms. Inside, Yi Chun recoiled, convinced she had harmed his cleaner. He called Xiao Nan for help before collapsing. Yi Chun was rushed to the hospital. Doctors confirmed he had not suffered an attack that day. They explained his condition was psychological, rooted in his conflict with his father, Zhao. His mother had died, his father remarried, and now pressured him to leave ZMG and work for the Gu family company. While Yi-chun was gone, Nwan tried to escape the office but found no way out. That evening, he returned to find her sitting in his chair, sketching. Chao Nan had to signal her to stop. Both Nwan and Shin Ron admitted fault. Yi-chun demoted Shin Ron to the reception desk and dismissed them both. At home, Mingyong teased Nwan relentlessly. She grew irritated, questioning why she had taken the blame for Shin Ron. Meanwhile, Chao Nan told Yi-chun how his car had ruined Nwan's job interview. He asked him to give her a second chance, but Yi-chun stayed silent. Later, when he saw her drawings, her words replayed in his mind. He called his psychologist, explained his condition, and mentioned Nwan. The doctor advised him not to let her go, suggesting she might hold the key to his recovery. The next day, while Nwan was working part-time, Yi-chun appeared. He watched from a distance as she drew a signboard for her boss, who scolded her harshly. Flustered, she turned too quickly and knocked things over. Both Chao Nan and Yi-chun saw it happen, and they began to believe her streak of bad luck was real. Rain started suddenly. Nwan stayed outside to finish cleaning, and Chao Nan thought about helping. Before he moved, Yi-chun stepped forward with an umbrella. As soon as he reached her, the rain stopped, highlighting his unusual fortune. He came to retrieve a pen Nwan had borrowed. She resisted at first, then realized the pen was in her pocket. To her horror, it was broken. It turned out to be a limited edition piece. In a dream, Yi-chun told her she would need to work at ZMG for 100 days to repay the debt. Meanwhile, Mingyong accidentally stepped on a lipstick at home. At that moment, Shin Ron returned. He panicked and tried to hide, but she noticed the stain and began searching. Desperate, Mingyong ended up crouching on the balcony in a pink bear costume. Later, Nwan went to ZMG to meet Shin Ron, only to find she had already left. She tried calling Mingyong, but Chao Nan interrupted and brought her to Yi-chun. There, Yi-chun assigned her as his personal cleaner in the CEO's office. Elsewhere, Fengmi focused entirely on Chao Nan. She had applied for the job just to be near him. She avoided him repeatedly, but he eventually cornered her, leaving her embarrassed and flustered. Back in the CEO's office, Nwan cleaned while muttering to herself and planning how to get close enough to Yi-chun to touch him and gain some of his luck. At the apartment, Mingyong tried to pack his things, but Shin Ron arrived unexpectedly. He hid under the bed. She, believing she was performing a ritual to chase away evil from Nwan, sprayed vinegar and hit Mingyong right in the face. He suffered in silence, unable to react. Chao Nan grew furious at Fengmi and booked her a flight back to America. This gave her the chance to confess her feelings, though the outcome was uncertain.
我喜欢你.
At work, Yi-chun almost entered an elevator when Nwan stopped him. She pressed him against the wall, testing whether she could help him. The elevator doors opened before anything happened. Bystanders pretended not to notice, though one person managed to snap a photo. Nwan quickly grabbed his hand, wished him a safe trip, and ran away. On her way home, she saw Mingyong with a swollen face. He could only communicate with exaggerated hand signals. Later, Yi-chun and Chao Nan each sank into their own thoughts, while Nwan faced her mother's constant pressure to attend blind dates. Yi-chun arrived at a business meeting, but his partners failed to show. He was about to leave when Chao Nan rushed in with news. Huan had announced a partnership with UA and planned a major press conference at the airport with investors present. As Yi-chun prepared to depart, Zhao appeared. He forced Yi-chun to take charge of a major project and demanded he attend mental health treatment, threatening to cut funding for ZMG if he refused. That night, Nwan struggled when the zipper on her outfit broke. She entered Yi-chun's office, hoping to sneak out unnoticed, but he caught her. Looking straight at her, he suddenly proposed marriage. He touched her face, and for the first time, his allergy did not trigger. Yi-chun then explained that he wanted her to pretend to be his girlfriend, offering 4 times her salary and a chance to clear her debt. The offer was too valuable to ignore, so Nwan accepted, though she remained confused about his unusual request. Later that evening, when she returned home, she found Fengmi and Shin Ron drinking wine together. Fengmi began sharing stories from high school about Chao Nan and Yi-chun, including the time Chao Nan rejected her and challenged her to solve a math problem before he would even consider dating her. Nwan then revealed the news. Yi-chun had asked her to pretend to be his girlfriend. Both Fengmi and Shin Ron reacted with shock and excitement, urging her to accept and even offering to help her prepare. At the same time, Yi-chun's stepmother tried to arrange a match for him, but he insisted he already had a partner. His doctor later suggested he test his allergy by kissing Nuan. Before he could think further, his phone filled with messages from relatives who had already heard about his supposed relationship. While Nuan endured scolding from her mother for skipping a blind date, Ichun called and demanded she come immediately. When his aunt arrived, he introduced Nuan as his partner. The meeting with his relatives was formal yet filled with awkwardly funny moments, and Ichun seemed moved by her presence. On her way home, Nuan reminded herself not to fall for him, though resisting was harder than she wanted to admit. That night, Mingyong sneaked into the apartment to pack his belongings. He tried to move quietly, but Shinran was already home. She heard noises and rushed to check, bursting into his room as he changed clothes. Instead of panicking, Mingyong confronted the situation, packed his things, threw money from his project onto the table, and stormed out. Moments later, he regretted leaving his money behind. With rain threatening and nowhere to stay, he dragged his suitcase through the hall. Shinran caught up and pulled him back inside. Meanwhile, Zhao and his wife remained suspicious of Ichen's sudden relationship. After hearing from his aunts that the couple seemed unusually close, Zhao ordered Ichun to bring Nuan to the company's 30th anniversary celebration. Mingyong was eventually allowed to stay at his sister's home under one condition: he had to serve as their personal helper. Shinran made sure he would not rest easily. At the company, Nuan was taken for a makeover. Ichun personally chose a gown for her and even tried to zip it up. When the zipper got stuck and broke, they had to call for help.
我没那么胖嘛。
Learning about the party, Nuan refused to attend. She even ran away before realizing how foolish her decision was. Ichun lost confidence and chose to go alone. At home, Nuan felt guilty but did not know what to do. Fangmi then started a video call with Shinran, giving her a direct view of the event. At the party, Ichun greeted his father, but tension quickly escalated into an argument. He clashed with his stepmother as well and eventually declared he was cutting ties with his family. Through the video call, Nuan heard everything. Determined, she rushed to the company, where Fangmi told her the gown was ready. She quickly changed and entered the venue just as Ichun was about to leave. Grabbing his hand, she led him to Zhao, and Ichun, holding on tightly, faced his father with confidence. Later, after the party ended, Ichun confided to Nuan that his mother had died the same year his parents divorced. She offered him a bottle of warm milk to ease the swelling on his face, and for the first time, he opened up about his family and recalled the accident that took his mother's life. Meanwhile, Fangmi went to the garage to meet Xiao Nan. She revealed she had finally solved the math problem he once gave her, enlisting the help of professors, department heads, and even her father. Xiao Nan was left speechless when he saw the solution. Later, Ichun drove Nuan home, thanked her, and gently touched her hair. That night, as she lay in bed, she replayed the evening in her mind. She even imagined marrying him and one day becoming the CEO's wife. Filled with confidence, she sent him a message asking to transfer to the art department. To her surprise, he agreed. Ichun then placed the milk bottle she had given him in a prominent spot in his refrigerator, smiling as he looked at it. The next morning, Mingyong continued serving as a helper for Shinran and Nuan before work. At the same time, Ichun held Nuan's hand without any allergic reaction, leaving Xiao Nan stunned. Ichun explained to him what the doctor had said about his condition. While cleaning his office, Nuan prepared tea and mentioned her idea of transferring departments. Before she realized it, Ichun had already moved her desk and furniture into his office. Elsewhere, Fangmi was heartbroken. Xiao Nan rejected her, and she assumed he liked someone else. As she cried on Shinran's shoulder, Mingyong happened to walk by. Panicking, he quickly changed clothes with a coworker to avoid being recognized. Back at ZMG, investors arrived to discuss the new game. Their interest leaned toward Yue and Huan, making the situation difficult. Yet Ichun remained confident and prepared a contract to counter their doubts. In another corner of the city, Ming Yang's friend rented a recording studio with a large payment, without informing him. They were tricked by a property agent. The real owner showed up, demanding his rights and threatening to evict them. A heated argument broke out until Shinran appeared. She recorded the landlord and threatened him, accusing him of working with the agent. She demanded their money back or warned things would get worse. Mingyong pleaded with her not to tell Nuan, promising he would treat her better than her own brother did. After the investor meeting, Zhao confronted Ichun in anger over his cooperation with other groups. He demanded an investment in Huan. From outside, Nuan overheard the shouting and insults directed at Ichun. Unable to stay silent, she entered the room, walked past Zhao, and kissed Ichun. The entire room froze in shock. Zhao erupted with rage and stormed out. Nuan quickly apologized, but Yi Chen collapsed.
顾总，对不起，
At home, Zhao ordered his wife to stop caring about Yi Chen. She wept, consumed with guilt over his mother's death, which had triggered his condition years earlier. Yi Chen later woke up in shock, remembering the kiss, but realized his allergy had not been triggered. While he felt relief, Nuan was overcome with worry and guilt. Seeing his car approach, she rushed forward and delivered a long apology, though only Qiao Nan heard her. He encouraged her to face Yi Chen directly and even gave her his house code. When Nuan arrived, Yi Chen was still asleep. In his dream, he reached for her and pulled her close. When he woke, both immediately pulled away in embarrassment. Later, Nuan proudly showed off her cooking, unaware Yi Chen was secretly watching. She caught him peeking and teased him as adorable. She also asked about his condition, prompting him to share the full story. After his mother's death, even the slightest touch from a woman had left him unable to breathe. That was why women were forbidden in his office. Strangely, her presence never caused a reaction. This left her wondering if he simply did not see her as feminine. At the same time, Mingyong still struggled to find housing. Xinran came home carrying food and offered it to him, but he declined. When she entered her room, he secretly began eating. She suddenly reappeared, catching him off guard and nearly making him choke. She teased him, lifting his chin, but the playful gesture only deepened the awkwardness between them. That night, Qiao Nan took a taxi home. Feng Mi tried to follow him but was caught. When he called her over, she confessed her feelings. He brushed her off coldly, claiming he was busy, and walked away, leaving her behind. At the same time, Nuan prepared porridge for Yi Chen. She hesitated before tasting it herself, but her hands shook. She could not swallow even a spoonful. As if mocking her, the lights went out. Surprised that Yi Chen's home could suffer a blackout, she was even more shocked when he handed her a toolbox and asked her to fix it. Elsewhere, Mingyong gently covered Xinran with a blanket as she slept. He tidied her room quietly, then sat down to watch her. In her sleep, he whispered a confession of his feelings.
我就喜欢姐姐。
Meanwhile, Feng Mi followed Qiao Nan to a bar. She found him asleep at a table, sat across from him, and poured out her heart while he dreamed. Outside, Nuan muttered about Yi Chen as she fumbled with the cables. Unable to reach the socket, she was suddenly lifted onto his shoulders. When he set her down, she ended up in his arms. At that moment, the lights returned. Yi Chen suggested they start over, as if meeting for the first time. Later, he looked through Nuan's drawings. One by one, he stored them carefully, as if they were precious. The next morning, Nuan overslept. When she waved for a ride, 3 taxis stopped at once. She nearly bought a donut but was handed one for free instead. It was clear she was enjoying Yi Chen's streak of luck. When she arrived at the company, rain began to fall. Her luck ended instantly, prompting Feng Mi and Xinran to bet on the outcome. While buying coffee, she received a call from Xinran, who told her she had won first place in the Mobile Game Association's contest. Her phone was soon flooded with calls from buyers, including Yi Chen. She wanted Yi Chen to speak to her directly, but he only sent Qiao Nan, leaving her disappointed. She gave Qiao Nan 3 conditions for Yi Chen, one of which required him to move out of his office. Yi Chen disliked the demand, but Qiao Nan accepted it as a small price to keep her in the company. All of Yi Chen's belongings were moved, leaving him stunned. Meanwhile, Shen Yan, the man who had given her a donut, called Nuan and asked to meet. He turned out to be an employee of Huan. At the same time, Xinran was busy begging landlords to find Mingyong an apartment. Embarrassed but touched, Mingyong noticed her injured foot. Reluctantly but sincerely, he carried her on his back. Shen Yan then revealed his true purpose. He was not only interested in buying her game rights, but also wanted to recruit her for Huan. Elsewhere, Mingyong treated Xinran's foot, wrapped it carefully, and scolded her for being reckless. Later, Nuan returned to the office and accidentally overheard Yi Chen speaking with Qiao Nan. He claimed her game had not won because of its quality, but because the association dismissed the entries from Huan and ZMG. It was, he said, nothing more than luck. Outraged, Nuan confronted him, furious that he belittled the work she had poured her heart into. Hearing her anger, Mingyong wanted to step in as well, but Xinran held him back. That night, Yi Chen went to her place and waited outside without announcing himself. Inside, Nuan called her father, who encouraged her and gave her strength. Renewed with confidence, she picked up her pen and began to draw again. The next morning, Chun arrived at the office, but most of the staff had already taken a 3-day leave. Those who remained felt the heavy pressure of his presence. He ordered Chao Nan to secure the rights to Nguyen's game through Feng Mi, giving him only 3 days to succeed. Chao Nan went to Ming Yong for information and learned that Nguyen had won a 2-day trip and had already left with Feng Mi and Xin Ran. The three had switched off their phones and were fully enjoying their break. No matter how many times Chao Nan and Ming Yong called, there was no answer. When Chao Nan finally reached Feng Mi, she told him not to disturb her. For the first time, he felt the sting of rejection. Frustrated, Chao Nan and Ming Yong decided to track them down. They refused to let the women slip away before the upcoming party. Meanwhile, Nguyen, Feng Mi, and Xin Ran drank heavily until they were completely drunk. In her state, Nguyen called Chun and vented all her anger, unaware he was already standing behind her.
我讨厌你，大混蛋！
As Chun and Chao Nan confronted the situation inside, the three women scattered in different directions, forcing the men to chase after them. Feng Mi, even in her drunkenness, confessed her feelings to Chao Nan. His response was no different than before, leaving her in tears, though he still carried her home on his back. Ming Yong followed Xin Ran and carefully checked her injured foot. To his surprise, she leaned in and kissed his cheek. Encouraged, he pulled her close and kissed her back. Elsewhere, Nguyen caused a scene on the street until Chun arrived and carried her. Sitting on his back, she yelled at him and even bit his ear. Chun could only apologize. When he brought her to her room, she refused to sleep, clinging to his face and neck. Just as they were about to kiss, drowsiness overcame her and she drifted off in his arms. Later, Chun received a call from his doctor. Every possible explanation for his allergy had been eliminated, leaving only one conclusion: he was in love with Nguyen. The next morning, Xin Ran woke up in a panic, horrified by what had happened with Ming Yong. She fled the hotel room and rushed to Feng Mi, confessing everything and even showing the mark on her neck. Together they remembered Nguyen, who had also just woken up. Back at work, Nguyen found herself reassigned to the art department. Chun, meanwhile, ignored Chao Nan's report, lost in thought and smiling like someone in love. Outside, Ming Yong chased after Xin Ran, angry that she had abandoned him with all the expenses. She dismissed it, claiming she had been drunk so it did not count. The words broke his heart. He threw the money back at her and walked away. Nguyen saw everything and pulled him aside to offer advice, but before she could finish, their mother appeared and twisted her ear. Their mother dragged both of them to a cafe. She forced Nguyen into a blind date and told Ming Yong to quit his job. Reluctantly, Nguyen went along, only to find her date was Shen Yen. Chen and Chao Nan happened to pass by and saw them together but said nothing. Nguyen soon learned that her past encounters with Shen Yen had not been coincidences. He revealed they had known each other since childhood and suggested they give dating a try. Chun, watching from afar, was visibly distracted. Chao Nan immediately recognized it and teased him, saying Nguyen and Shen Yen were destined childhood sweethearts. He joked that Chun was about to be rejected. As they exchanged banter, Feng Mi appeared. Misunderstanding the situation, she thought they were mocking her. Hurt, she ran off before Chao Nan could explain. On Sunday, Chun arrived just in time to see Shen Yen picking up Nguyen. He secretly followed them to a restaurant and, out of jealousy, sabotaged their date. He bought every dish Shen Yen ordered before it reached the table, purchased all the odd-numbered movie tickets, and even cleared out the claw machine prizes so they had nothing left to share. While distracted, Chun failed to notice a man passing by with a dog. Terrified of dogs, he froze, and when he turned back, Shen Yen was already in front of him. Shen Yen mocked him, but Chun quickly understood his motives. Shen Yen was only interested in Nguyen because of her game. When Shen Yen admitted it, Chun lost patience, grabbed his collar, and threatened him. Nguyen, realizing the truth, firmly declared she would not leave ZMG. On the way home, she thought back to everything and realized Chun had been following her from the start. Elsewhere, Shen Yen called a mysterious girl and admitted failure. She insisted she would not stop making Chen's life difficult. Later, Nguyen went to Chen's office and confessed that her project was incomplete, but she wanted to give it to ZMG. His indifferent response made her think he was uninterested. Frustrated, she demanded 10 million. He immediately agreed, then pushed her against the wall and reminded her that he could have anything he wanted instantly. Meanwhile, Xin Ran struggled to carry items into the recording studio. Zen asked Ming Yong to help, but Ming Yong pretended not to know her. In the end, Zen stepped in, while Ming Yong quickly lay on the floor to hide. During lunch, Nguyen sat with Xin Ran, who looked uneasy but stayed silent about what had happened. Curious, Nuan put on her magic glasses and noticed a pink aura surrounding Xin Ron. She encouraged her to find the man with the same aura, saying he was the right one for her. Flustered, Xin Ron ran off, forgetting to take the glasses. Back at ZMG, a major crisis broke out when the closed beta code leaked. Yi Chun was furious and ordered everyone to patch the security flaws and launch on schedule within 6 hours. He hoped to keep it from Huan, but Shen Yan already knew and even tipped off the media about a major announcement at midnight. Determined, Nuan promised to complete 40 illustrations in 6 hours, while Yi Chen ordered urgent changes to the source code. Zhao Huan and the mysterious girl closely monitored ZMG, but the company pulled through and delivered on time.
战场
紧急消息
！298887 299900。
The next evening, Nuan joined Fengmi for dinner. When a kissing scene appeared on TV, she quickly changed the channel. Fengmi and Xin Ron pressed her for answers. Without thinking, she blurted out that she and Yi Chun had accidentally kissed that morning. Both immediately concluded that Yi Chun liked her. The memory replayed in her head. The night before, she had been drinking milk and spilled a little on her lips. Yi Chun saw the chance and kissed her. At the office, Chao Nan delivered his report, but Yi Chun was lost in thought, replaying the kiss. With a sigh, Chao Nan left. When he reached for the milk Nuan had given Yi Chun, he noticed Yi Chun had already taken it. Realizing it was a gift, he asked, but Yi Chun dismissed it as expired and brushed it off. Meanwhile, Nuan thought about her moments with Yi Chun and remembered Xin Ron's words about her feelings. Her heart raced with excitement, nerves, and confusion. Distracted, she accidentally sent a message to Yi Chun. His reply came quickly. He asked if she missed him and suggested they meet the next day. The next day, Nuan tried to avoid Yi Chun at the office. She even hid inside a Pikachu costume, but he discovered her without exposing her. Instead, he had the costume moved into his office. Trapped there, she was surprised when he removed the headpiece and invited her to lunch. At the same time, Fengmi prepared a romantic bento for Chao Nan. Yi Chun used work as an excuse to keep Nuan in his office for lunch. Fengmi attempted to sneak food into Chao Nan's office but was caught. Desperate, she asked to stay with him before her long tour, but he rejected her. Refusing to give up, she slipped a love letter through his office door. As preparations for the tour intensified, Nuan struggled to reach some documents. Yi Chun helped her but then placed them higher to tease her. Later, while she fell asleep at her desk, he secretly finished her work and even admitted his feelings quietly. The next morning, Nuan woke to find everything completed but had no idea how. Her colleagues laughed when she appeared, and she soon discovered Yi Chun had sketched her face. Xin Ron followed her to the restroom and asked if she liked Yi Chun, but Nuan denied it. Meanwhile, Chao Nan brought several projects to Yi Chun. When Nuan's project appeared, Yi Chun approved it instantly without hesitation, leaving Chao Nan convinced he was in love with her. During lunch, Nuan ran into Shen Yan. He brought up Huan again, but she refused to entertain the idea. As he left, he dropped a photo of Luo Yi with Yi Chun, hinting at their future together. Back at the office, she overheard Chao Nan teasing Yi Chun, suggesting he was already in love with Luo Yi. Believing it, Nuan misunderstood the situation. Later, she presented her game to the team. Yi Chun, retrieving his notebook, rushed into the meeting room to hand it back to her. Hearing the tough questions directed at her, he secretly listened through his earphones and whispered the answers, helping her through the presentation. That night, Xin Ron ran into her ex-boyfriend. Mingyong saw them but pretended not to notice, until the man tried to hit her. He stepped in, and a fight broke out. Elsewhere, Fengmi, stranded without a way home, was harassed by a stranger. Chao Nan arrived in time to protect her, even claiming she was his girlfriend. Afterward, Fengmi chased him, thanked him, and kissed his car window despite his coldness. Meanwhile, Xin Ron treated Mingyang's wounds. She admitted her ex had scammed her out of 300,000 yuan, money her parents had saved for her. She confessed she no longer believed in love and felt unworthy of giving or receiving it. Mingyong gently embraced her. Still troubled by thoughts of Yi Chun and Luo Yi, Nuan suddenly saw all the lights around her switch on. A massive poster of her game appeared, and Yi Chun walked in holding flowers. He placed a special bracelet on her wrist, designed just for her, and confessed his feelings. Overwhelmed, she tried to hold back but failed. She leaned in and kissed him. That night, Yi Chun called and asked her to sing him a lullaby. Instead, Nuan fell asleep first, leaving him smiling quietly on the other end. The next morning, as Nuan and Yi Chen's hands brushed against each other, the elevator doors opened and Chao Nan stepped in. He announced that Nuan's salary would be docked for 2 days due to lateness. Yi Chen smiled but secretly decided to cut Chao Nan's pay for 2 months in return. Realizing the consequences, Chao Nan turned pale and swore never to trouble Nuan again. Yi Chen's stepmother later approached Nuan, asking for her help in repairing the strained relationship between Yi Chen and Zhao. When Yi Chen saw them together, he was clearly upset. He tried to pull Nuan away, but when he heard her say, "She is your father's wife," he froze, let go, and walked off. Back at the office, Nuan explained what happened to Chao Nan. They split up to look for Yi Chen. Remembering his habits, Chao Nan guessed he might be by the river. Nuan went there and found him, but he refused to let her come close. Just as she turned to leave, he pulled her back. He finally revealed his past. His mother had tried to support his father's career by bringing his best friend into their lives. One time, Zhao stayed away for 3 months. When he returned, he argued bitterly with Yi Chen's mother. In her rage, she drove off with Yi Chen, warning him never to forgive Zhao if something happened to her. They got into an accident, and with her last breath, she instilled that hatred in her son. Overcome, Nuan embraced Yi Chen and promised she would always stand by him. That night, Yi Chen drove her home. Before he could leave, she ran to him and kissed him, giving him her answer.
顾一晨，
At the office, Chao Nan noticed Feng Mi's lunchbox and smiled quietly, feeling content. Meanwhile, Nuan and Yi Chen shared secret moments together. Feng Mi sent her affection toward Chao Nan from a distance. Later, Nuan delivered documents to Yi Chen and found an excuse to pull him onto his chair and kiss him. Just then, Chao Nan barged in with a department head. Yi Chen immediately stood up, leaving Nuan to hide under the desk in embarrassment. Elsewhere, Mingyong busied himself decorating an office for Xin Ran, carefully arranging everything to her liking. That evening, Nuan and Yi Chen stayed in and played video games. To his surprise, she turned out to be exceptionally skilled. The following day, Zhen visited the company to deliver an invitation. He ran into Yao Yao, and the two stood silently, staring at each other. Meanwhile, Nuan poured her energy into her project, making Yi Chen feel guilty. But for someone once plagued by endless bad luck, she was now experiencing the best time of her life. Yi Chen embraced her and admitted his allergy had not returned in a long time. Nuan wished he would find the courage to face his condition and promised to remain by his side. The next day, she invited him out, hoping exposure to more women would help him overcome his fear. But Yi Chen still avoided it, unable to let go of his hesitation. At that moment, Xin Ran called, telling Nuan that Mingyong was hosting a studio opening that evening. They were all invited. Yi Chen was reluctant, but when Nuan said she wanted to formally introduce him to Mingyong, he agreed. At the event, Mingyong was clearly displeased by Yi Chen's presence. He pulled him aside and questioned his relationship with Nuan. Yi Chen deflected by mentioning Xin Ran, which immediately set Mingyong off. Soon, Yi Chen, Mingyong, and Chao Nan ended up in a drinking contest. By the time Nuan and the others arrived, the men were completely drunk, sprawled on the floor. They later walked together in an exaggerated show of toughness, only to stumble apart moments later, ready to vomit. That night, Xin Ran took Mingyong home. Determined not to repeat past mistakes, she tried to keep her distance, but he grabbed her clothes and begged her not to leave. He confessed his feelings for her. Meanwhile, Feng Mi chased after Chao Nan and even called him her boyfriend. Overjoyed, she guided him step by step, but he pulled her close and overwhelmed her with a stream of math formulas. Tears welled in his eyes as he admitted he only wanted to feel happiness with her. He leaned in to kiss her, but she had already fallen asleep on his shoulder. Elsewhere, Nuan continued looking for Yi Chen and found him clinging to a lamppost. In his drunken state, he stumbled through a confession and begged her not to leave, acting like a spoiled child who needed her by his side. The next morning, the three men woke at the same time to find the women had already prepared breakfast. Yi Chen noticed Mingyong and Chao Nan posting cheerful breakfast photos on Weibo. Not wanting to be outdone, he joined in. Meanwhile, a new spark grew between Yao Yao and Zhen. Everything seemed calm, but the peace did not last. Luo Yi returned. Yi Chen had fallen deeply for Nuan. Remembering her words, he lingered at the office waiting for her. When she failed to appear, frustration overcame him. He even considered disbanding the team just to free her time. After work, Nuan rushed to see him. She closed her eyes and tiptoed toward him, only for him to tiptoe higher and tease her. Annoyed, she turned away, but he pulled her back, lifted her into his arms, and kissed her. Luo Yi and Shun Yen watched from outside in shock. That night, the doctor sent Yi-Chen a message, saying he might be recovering from his allergy thanks to Wan. The next morning, Xin Ran overslept. Mingyang had prepared breakfast and even helped her reapply lipstick. Just then, Wan entered. Panicked, Mingyang smeared lipstick all over Xin Ran's face and hid her behind a chair. Suspicious, Wan searched the room. Mingyang covered Xin Ran's face with an apron and sneaked her out to the balcony. Xin Ran grew angry at him, and even his apology failed to calm her. Elsewhere, Yi-Chen took advantage of the moment. When Wan came for his signature, he slipped her snacks and fussed over her. They nearly kissed before Chao Nan entered, making the moment awkward. Wan ran off, while Yi-Chen, glowing with happiness, enjoyed the thought of having a girlfriend. Work resumed, but Chao Nan noticed something unusual. Company revenue had risen, yet sales had mysteriously fallen. Huan showed no new activity, so Yi-Chen ordered him to investigate further. He wanted to know what they were planning. Later, Chao Nan prepared to leave early, but Fengmi slipped into his car. She brought him to a porridge stall, saying this was the taste of happiness. He tried it, became hooked, and ate eagerly until the server approached. To his shock, it was his mother. Fengmi had no idea their relationship was strained. She left him when he was 6. He told her that on the day she walked away, her son had already died. Pushing her aside, he stormed out in anger. Meanwhile, Yi-Chen attended a conference alone without Chao Nan. Unsure if his allergy would return, he tried to avoid the press, but a woman forced her way through the crowd, sending him into panic. At the same time, Xiao Yu secretly swapped out Wan's hard drive. Chao Nan, still shaken by his encounter with his mother, thought back on his past. With his grandparents gone when he was young, Yi-Chen was the only family he had left. Late that night, Wan failed to reach Yi-Chen and grew worried. Luo Yi, however, appeared at his side and helped him through the situation. Fengmi followed Chao Nan, but he lashed out and told her to leave. He avoided her feelings and rejected her outright. Crying in front of the company, Fengmi was seen by Wan, who then took her home and told Xin Ran everything. Back at the bar, Yi-Chen and Luo Yi drank together. He was startled by how much she knew about his life, even his connection to Wan. Later, Yi-Chen went to see Wan. He confessed how much he missed her, kissed her, and told her they could not be apart, no matter what happened. She agreed, but at that moment Mingyang called, urging her to come home. Torn, she hesitated, reluctant to leave Yi-Chen. The next day, Fengmi took a week off, and Yi-Chen noticed that Chao Nan seemed preoccupied. Suddenly, Yao rushed in with alarming news. Several servers had been hacked the night before, and multiple online games were affected. An emergency meeting was held. The investigation revealed that the breach came from inside the company. Security footage showed Wan accessing the system. To make matters worse, Huan's new project was presented at the same meeting, and it was identical to her game. Wan was called in front of the executives. Yi-Chen demanded she hand over the hard drive she had used while working late. When they checked, it contained stolen data, making it appear as though she had sabotaged ZMG and sold her project to Huan. At the same time, Huan and Yue filed a lawsuit against ZMG through the association. Yi-Chen realized Luo Yi was behind everything and confided in Chao Nan. Chao Nan feared she was trying to take down both ZMG and Wan. Meanwhile, Mingyang arrived at ZMG, only to learn that Huan had purchased his office building. They told him that if he wanted to keep working, he would have to cooperate with them. Soon after, Zhao stormed into the company, throwing down the fake dating contract between Yi-Chen and Wan. Enraged, he raised his hand to strike Yi-Chen, but Wan stepped forward and took the slap instead. Zhao continued lashing out until Yi-Chen pulled her into his arms to protect her. Furious, Zhao severed ties with Yi-Chen and ordered Wan to leave ZMG. Once Zhao left, Yi-Chen told her to stay and ignore everyone else. He resolved to confront Luo Yi. Because of the lawsuit, ZMG was ordered to take all its online games offline before midnight. Yi-Chen arranged a meeting with Luo Yi. She admitted that she had orchestrated the fake dating contract and revealed that the doctor treating him was her cousin. She confessed she had been watching him since the day he transferred schools without telling her, and that she had turned her world upside down to find him. At that moment, Shun Yen called Wan and told her to come. She arrived just in time to see Luo Yi embracing Yi-Chen. He pushed Luo Yi away the instant he saw Wan, but the damage was done. Heartbroken, she ran. Yi-Chen chased her and realized she knew about him and Luo Yi. His allergy flared up, but she could no longer face the truth. She told him their relationship was over and fled. Yi-Chen collapsed. Fortunately, Chao Nan arrived in time to save him. When Yi-Chen woke, he wanted to find Wan, but Chao Nan reminded him of the company's condition. It was already past midnight, and he had no choice but to take all the games offline. Meanwhile, Nuan, devastated, replayed their happiest moments in her mind. At the office, the staff left in silence, weighed down by disappointment. Luo Yi later called Yi Chun, offering to discuss ZMG. She tried to push him into signing a contract, but he refused, unwilling to be tied to someone so deceitful. At that moment, Ming Yong burst in and struck Yi Chun, furious at how he had hurt Nuan. The next day, Nuan's mother arranged yet another blind date for her. Yi Chun showed up at the house looking for her. That evening, Nuan's father drank with Yi Chun, unaware that the man sitting across from him was his daughter's boyfriend. He spoke fondly of Nuan and offered comforting words. Yi Chun stayed the night and wandered into her room, where he noticed childhood photos. In that moment, he realized she was the little girl who had stood outside his hospital room after his mother's accident. Elsewhere, Feng Mi lay in bed, overwhelmed with guilt. Shinran took care of her while she admitted how deeply she regretted hurting Chao Nan. She said she would return to the US as if she had never met him, though in truth her feelings for him were real. That night, Chao Nan saw his mother holding her new child. Quietly, he wiped his tears. Later, Yi Chun and Chao Nan returned to the company. Yi Chun handed responsibility for ZMG to Chao Nan, unwilling to see his life's work fall into a competitor's hands. He planned to step away for a while. Meanwhile, Nuan returned to her job as a mascot, handing out flyers. After 3 hours, she had only given away 3. When she stumbled and dropped the entire stack, it felt like her bad luck had returned. Her absence worried Ming Yong. Pacing nervously, he accidentally stepped on lipstick. Outside, Nuan climbed the stairs to her apartment, running into Yi Chun, the very person she wanted to avoid. Inside, Ming Yong grew tense, afraid Shinran would catch him. Believing she had gone upstairs, he relaxed, until she suddenly came back down. In his panic, he stepped on her face mask. Furious, Shinran kicked him out of the apartment. At the same time, Nuan forced Yi Chun out. The two men ended up locked outside together, calling out for the women inside. The next morning, Nuan and Shinran awoke to find breakfast on the table. Yi Chun and Ming Yong had prepared it. Yi Chun admitted he wanted to stay at Nuan's place. He longed to be with her again, but she refused. The following day, Nuan went to work, only to find Yi Chun there as well. He asked for a part-time job, and the boss agreed, though in reality, Yi Chun had paid him to hire him. At first, Nuan thought he was joking, but Yi Chun explained that he had already given authority over ZMG to Chao Nan. Now he was no different from her. When she asked whether he feared his allergy might return while working, he replied softly that he was not afraid as long as she was by his side. Back at ZMG, only Shinran and Chao Nan remained. Shinran confided in him about Feng Mi and urged him not to let go of someone who loved him so deeply. Meanwhile, Nuan and Yi Chun threw themselves into work. She handed out flyers while he wore the Pikachu costume, and for once his presence became her greatest support. As the day wound down, Nuan accidentally bumped into a customer, spilling hot coffee. Yi Chun rushed to steady her, but the customer grabbed his hand roughly. His allergy flared, and he struggled to breathe before collapsing in Nuan's arms. Meanwhile, Chao Nan continued visiting his mother every day. He noticed her bent back and wanted to help, but her new family was already caring for her. Feeling abandoned, he held his pain in silence. When he ran into Feng Mi, he tried to appear strong but broke down in tears. She stepped forward, confessed her feelings, and kissed him. It was her 99th declaration of love. She admitted it might be the last and walked away. Elsewhere, Shinran returned from work to find Ming Yong waiting at the bus stop. She told him they were not meant to be and that she did not like him. Refusing to accept it, Ming Yong chased after her, pulled her back, and kissed her, insisting she stop lying to herself. At the same time, Yi Chun regained consciousness. His first thought was to explain his situation with Luo Yi, but Nuan had already ended things, convinced she had ruined ZMG's reputation. Yi Chun held her tightly and reminded her of their childhood. He recalled how Zhao beat him for disobeying his stepmother, how Nuan comforted him, and how she gave him a small drawing. He promised he would reclaim everything for her if she would stay by his side. From then on, Nuan saw Yi Chun everywhere. At her home, he cooked her breakfast. It felt as if the universe was returning everything she had given. Later, Chao Nan and Ming Yong arrived early at the cafe, both visibly weighed down. Chao Nan heard remarks that she would never like him again, while Ming Yong was told she never liked him at all. Yi Chun congratulated the women for escaping their suffering and teased the men. Their banter was interrupted by the sound of a baby crying outside. They stepped out to find an infant in a stroller at the door. Yi Chun was forced to pick the baby up. To their surprise, the baby stopped crying in his arms but wailed again the moment he was set down. Xiao Nan found a note from the mother, asking the shop to care for her child for 1 day. The owner handed the baby to them and left. At the same time, Fengmi prepared to return to the US. Nuan wanted to help Xiao Nan, but Fengmi had already exhausted every effort. Just then, Xinran came home and told them about the baby. The three of them were now responsible for caring for her. When it came time to change diapers, Xiao Nan and Mingyang fled, leaving Yichun to call Nuan for help. Together, wearing masks and gloves, they managed to get through it. In the middle of the chaos, Yichun and Nuan realized something important. He had held the baby girl all day, yet his allergy had not surfaced. Nuan suggested his condition was not about women in general, but about certain people, especially those he feared could hurt him. Yichun remembered how, after his mother's death, his stepmother once grabbed his face with bloody hands, and every argument ended with Zhao striking him. Perhaps everything had started with her. On his mother's birthday, Zhao and his wife visited her grave. Yichun brought Nuan along. Finally, father and son spoke openly. Yichun explained his relationship with Nuan. Zhao revealed that at the time, he was not yet with his new wife. Instead, Yichun's mother had been struggling with severe depression, and from there, everything had unraveled. 3 years after his wife passed away, Zhao married another woman. 10 years later, his wife refused to have children, worried that Yichun would leave the family. Zhao took the blame, while Yichun reassured his stepmother that they were all one family now. Overwhelmed, she cried with joy. Nuan placed flowers at the grave, where Yichun introduced her to his mother. He told her he was ready to let go of the past and asked for her blessing to start anew. Elsewhere, Xiao Nan saw his own mother happy with her new family. Remembering Fengmi's words, he smiled gently, finally able to forgive. Just then, Xinran called, telling him that Fengmi had booked a ticket to the US and was leaving that day. He rushed to the airport. On the way, Fengmi refused calls, not wanting anyone to see her off or feel sad. When her taxi broke down, she continued on foot. Xiao Nan arrived breathless, begged her not to leave, and confessed his feelings. He showed her every letter she had written to him, repeating how much he loved her. She ran into his arms, and for the first time, she truly believed she had his heart. Xinran received the news and felt both happy and jealous. Back at her apartment, she found Mingyang had decorated the room with balloons, each marked with lipstick prints. He knelt, opened a small box with another lipstick, and proposed. Still distracted by thoughts of Nuan, Xinran hesitated. Mingyang called Nuan on video, confessing his feelings in front of her. Moved at last, Xinran agreed to be with him. Mingyang tossed the box aside and pulled her into an embrace, relieved though regretful about wasting the lipstick. Nuan, frustrated that Mingyang cut the call, wondered when their relationship had begun. Yichun gave her no time to dwell. He clasped her tightly, slipped the bracelet back on her wrist, and kissed her hand. At that moment, Yichun received a call. Huan was planning to announce their takeover of ZMG. Instead of panic, he welcomed the challenge. Seeing Nuan ready to fight by his side, he smiled, held her hand, and prepared to face the world with her. The three couples now stood united, ready to defend ZMG. Yichun decided to launch Nuan's game ahead of Huan. He believed they could steal her drawings, but never the heart of her story. The staff returned to ZMG, energized for the final battle. That night, Luo Yi confronted Yichun. Before she could sway him, Nuan entered, and the air turned tense. Luo Yi vowed to claim Yichun at any cost. Nuan countered, saying she wanted only Yichun's happiness and safety. She declared that he was hers and that no deception could separate them again. Furious, Luo Yi stormed off, convinced Nuan was delusional and waiting eagerly for her downfall. Both sides raced to finish their projects. As Nuan completed her work, Yichun pulled her into his arms, giving her strength. At UA's press conference, executives announced their release date and their intent to acquire ZMG. Suddenly, a firm voice cut through, Xiao Nan, stepping in with confidence. He played a video showing Xiao Yu swapping Nuan's hard drive. Luo Yi panicked but dismissed it, claiming UA did not care. Nuan stepped forward with evidence that UA had stolen her idea. She reminded the press that true gamers could tell the difference between an original and a copy in a single touch. Then she revealed that Meeting You had already launched 30 minutes earlier. The room erupted. Fengmi and Mingyang live-streamed the release, drawing thousands of viewers. As Luo Yi tried to leave, Yichun confronted her, urging her to admit her crimes. She refused, but he played another recording, her conversation with Xiao Yu about the stolen hard drive. Mingyang had secretly filmed it inside UA. Cornered, Luo Yi insisted the evidence was illegal and therefore useless. Then Shun Yen stood up with legal documents. He announced he had resigned from UA, unwilling to tolerate Luo Yi's schemes, and agreed to cooperate with the investigation. Later, Nuan tried her magic glasses again, only to find they no longer worked. Yi Chun told her they were nothing more than a VR scam from Panda Company. Shun Yen now stood with ZMG. At last, the three couples found peace, their battles behind them, ready to live their lives together in happiness. So the moral of the story is, love cures allergies and mud on your face might just lead to your soulmate.